Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very pleased to welcome you here today to this wonderful celebration of 30 years of MUS-E. I would especially like to welcome the Ambassador of Portugal, Mr. Julio Vilela, and his wife. Hello, thank you for coming. And I would like a special thank you for Alexei Lautenberg, member of the board of the International Menuhin Foundation, and his wife. Thank you for coming. And I would like to welcome Enrique Baron Crespo, president of the board of the International Menuhin Foundation in Spain. Welcome, everybody. In 1993, experts from 10 countries came together to develop the international artistic program MUS-E, together with the humanist and visionary Yehudi Menuhin here at a conference in Gstaad. In the meantime, this program has reached far more than 1 million of children. It is currently active in 12 countries. The founding members of MUS-E, Marianne Poncelet, Executive Vice President of the International Yehudi Menuhin Foundation, has been involved from the very beginning. I would like to welcome you very warmly in Saanen, dear Marianne. Thank you for coming. And of course, Werner Schmitt, Vice President of the International Yehudi Menuhin Foundation here in Switzerland. Welcome, Werner. Together with Yehudi Menuhin, you invented and implemented this great program, and you have been doing so for many years. At this point, I would also like to extend a warm welcome to Coen Teulings. He is the president of the International Yehudi Menuhin Foundation. And I would also like to extend a special welcome to Muki and Jeremy Menuhin and Jill Apap. They provide a wonderful musical settings for our ceremony. And at this point, I would also like to introduce myself briefly. My name is Alexa Ritter, and I have been president of MUS-E Liechtenstein since 2021. I'm very pleased to be here with you together. At this point, I would like to ask Coen Teulings, president of the International Yehudi Menuhin Foundation, to come to the stage, and we would like to hear your greetings to this warm and nice celebration today. Please, Coen.
And my dear friends, after this beautiful Largo by Gilles Pap, you will hear more from him. I promise I will confess my sins. Before doing so, I would like indeed to greet you and also to underline that we are on no way to a nostalgic journey. We are here very much alive, the MUS-E Programme that is realized and practiced by you all. So I'm here to celebrate your presence, your contribution, all your efforts, your dedication to make this all work. Because without you, we simply would not exist. Therefore, I would suggest that this day is very much a day of celebrating the life of the music programs and to discuss among each other how we will go forward. Now, we are very proud, obviously, of what the program has achieved over the last 30 years. In certain countries, it has become a very large organization. And especially in Spain and Italy, it's very extensive, very large, but we are equally proud of the MUS-E programs in other countries because they all maintain the same professional high level, which is exemplified by Gilles Apap here. And in this way, we would like to go forward and also to plan new countries to join the scheme. I would, in addition, like to encourage you, insofar as that is appropriate and necessary, that you all, because you're all from all kinds of regions, that you all speak to each other, communicate with each other, and compare notes, and sort of share stories, and do crazy things with each other, because that is what the MUS-E Programme is also all about. And with that, you are most welcome. I'm delighted to be here, to welcome you here, and I give the floor now to our managing director, Marianne Poncelet, but I suppose it has to be done through Alexa. So, Alexa, go ahead.
Okay, at this point, for the next greetings, I would like to invite Marianne Poncelet, Executive Vice President of the International Yehudi Menuhin Foundation and co-founder of the MUS-E Programme, to join me on stage. Please, Marianne.
Hello, everybody. Werner asked me to summarize the MUS-E Programme story of 30 years in 5 minutes, so I have to be quite sharp in what I will say. But I wanted first, before to speak about the MUS-E Programme, I would like to speak about my first meeting with Lord Menuhin, which produced at the end the creation of the International Yehudi Menuhin Foundation, which at the end produced the MUS-E Programme, because it's step by step. My first meeting with Yehudi Menuhin was in 1990 in Belgravia, in his house, Chester Square, where he asked me to visit him because I had sent him a short fairy tale that I had written, because I'm writing fairy tales for children. This fairy tale was called A Child from the Sky and the Earth. And I wanted him to write a preface. So when he read that book, he called me and he said, "Come to London and then we speak." So I went to London, we spoke, and then he explained me so many projects that he had in mind that at one stage I said, "But why don't you create a foundation to coordinate all these activities that you have, and so it can prolong your life after when you will leave us?" And then he said, "Okay, buy a fax and work for me." So I was about, I think, 29 or 30 years at that time. So I came back to Brussels. I bought a fax, because at that time it was a fax communication. And then he put me in contact with some people that were very important in the cultural field of Brussels, the Comte Jean-Pierre de Launois, for example, and so on. And then he said to me, "Why don't you organize a small concert in Beaux-Arts, in Brussels, Beaux-Arts, 2,000 seats." So me, no experience at all about foundation, about concert, about anything. So I launched myself in this adventure. And finally we did it. We created the foundation with a lawyer, with a first initial board. The member of the board were friends of Lord Menuhin, Jan Stotsker, Sir Edward Jackson, who was a famous ambassador of England, of UK, and of course the Comte Jean-Pierre de Launois. So we created the Menuhin Foundation, and then we had no action plan, no business plan, nothing. We had just the idea that we should coordinate the project of Yehudi Menuhin, and that's all. So at this stage, he asked me to come with him to a meeting of ESTA, European String Teacher Association in London, because he was the president. And there I met Werner. Werner was the treasurer of ESTA. And we got along very quickly together, if you remember Werner. And then Werner came into the board of the Menuhin Foundation right after. And then together we met a lady from the European Commission, an Italian lady, who was called Erika Varese. And she was in charge of the educational program of the European Commission in the DG Education at that time, DG10 it was called. And she said, why don't you create a small pilot project in the field of education with children in the schools, and then we can see if we can fund you on this experience. So we proceeded this way. We created the famous pilot project. And for this, I think Werner contacted the International Music Council in Paris to have some initial contacts and find some people who would be interested to taking part to this pilot project. And then we had the first initial meeting here in Saanen. And that's how the MUS-E Programme was born, here in Saanen. And there at the time, I think we had already Hungary, I think we had Belgium, a delegation from Beaux-Arts, Monsieur Hervé Thijs at the time. We had Estonia, I think, Switzerland, and maybe someone from Germany also at that time. And this was a very small group of activists, and we developed together with Lord Menuhin. I remember we spoke two full days about the concept of what we would do with this project. We didn't even know that it would be called MUS. It came later. And then we presented to the European Commission, then we were funded, and then we decided that, of course, the International Yehudi Menuhin Foundation could coordinate this project, but for the longer term, it would be more efficient to create local national association in each country so that each national association could be rooted in the cultural paysage of each country. And that's how we started to create local national association. I think the first one was Hungary with Eva Cepfalvi, maybe, and of course Swiss, MUS-E Swiss, since the beginning. Also because in Swiss we had fantastic experience in 50 schools, in primary schools, about the importance of the arts in the education. So based on that, this was a practice that we wanted to enlarge also. And also, Lord Menuhin at this stage was very influenced by Zoltán Kodály, and he was convinced that singing, dancing, making music at the early age would benefit to the children before learning any other discipline like mathematics or science or any kind of other discipline. But first of all, in the morning, singing and dancing would be something that would be very important for all children. And as Cristina Brito da Cruz said this morning, our first coordinator in Portugal, she expressed in the words of Lord Menuhin what it is to be singing and to make music since the early age, because then we are drawn into vibration. While you see with your eyes, there is a direction. If you listen to music, you are drawn, or all around you, you are drawn into vibration, and that was very important for Lord Menuhin. So the children would be drawn into music and also exposed to express themselves, their emotions, because he also thought that if children cannot express their emotion, even the suffering, for example, or the bitterness, or something that they have not expressed, and if they keep it in their body for a longer term, it can be very negative, not only for the body, because that could produce some illness, but also for the soul. Because if you keep in yourself bitterness or sadness or negative feelings, and you don't express them, and through music and through the arts, it's the best way to express your emotion. If you keep this emotion in your body, then you produce all kind of sickness at the end. So that was also one principle of Lord Menuhin, that through music and through the arts, we can really create and expand our personality. He was convinced about that. So slowly, we created the association, MUS Hungary in 1994, with Eva Cepfalvi, then followed by Andor, as he expressed also this morning. And then after, we had some initial meeting at the European Commission with a fantastic lady who was called Luciana Castellina, who was the chair of the Committee on Culture. And at the same time, we had a fantastic meeting at the European Parliament with our dear Enrique Baron, who was then president of the European Parliament. And he started a wonderful friendship with Lord Menuhin and with his wife Sophia at that time, who already made a beautiful painting of Lord Menuhin, a portrait of Lord Menuhin, which is now exposed in the European Parliament. So many memories, Enrique. And we went many times to the house of Enrique to discuss further how we could proceed with the foundation, because at the same time, I have to say that Lord Menuhin was really an activist, but also a kind of revolutionary. And when he went to meet Enrique at the European Parliament, that is because he had in mind not only the MUS-E Programme, but also to create an assembly of the cultures of Europe, which would be the equivalent of the European Parliament, but to give a voice to the voiceless and to the cultures who have no voice at political level, at this level in the European Parliament, namely the Roma, Gypsy, but also the Kurdish people, also the Berber, also the Armenian. And so at that time, and with the help of Enrique, we gathered a lot of cultural groups from these minorities, and we did several meetings in the Parliament and also in Lisbon at the occasion of the Universal Exhibition. And it all went well until Lord Menuhin left us, and then we could not continue with this platform because it was quite a political one. It was quite difficult to go ahead with it, but we kept the spirit of it. And so, to come back to MUS-E, because we are here for MUS-E, I want also to say that then Enrique created with me at that time, and with Lord Menuhin, we went to Spain. We created in 1999 the Fundación Yehudi Menuhin España, and then later on it was taken over in a very professional way by Annabelle and by Antonio, who is there also. And same in Portugal, we met in the Parliament in Brussels, a European deputy who was called Helena Vaz da Silva, who is the great figure of Portugal in the field of culture, and she brought us Cristina. And then we created the association in Portugal, and then slowly we had different coordinators, Margarida, who is here somewhere also, and then Margarida, and then we had Pedro, Zaragoza, and then finally Leonor, who is here also. And for each association in each country, I can also explain to you the development of Italy, which is also a fantastic one. We created an association in Milano, thanks also to the help of Andor, and we had there a first coordinator who was called Chiara Bonetti, and thanks to the help of Gianfranco De Bosio, who was a very well-known artist in the field of theater and stage management for opera in Italy. We created the association in Milano, and then we developed it with Stefano Micossi, who was our treasurer at that time at the foundation in Brussels. Stefano had a lot of contact in the field of industry because he was also the general director for industry at the European Commission at that time. So he found the support of a fantastic family of Italy, which is called the family Garrone, still going on and supporting the MUS-E Association, which has transformed since then in a foundation, and it is called now Fondazione MUS-E Italia, with the support of the family Garrone. And so we have here the national coordinator, Rita, also there. But before we had Giovanna Senin, we had Anna Maria Guglielmino, we had several people taking over the coordination in each country with their competencies, with their cultures, with their enthusiasm, and same for Belgium. I don't see Tom, but he must be there somewhere. Tom also came to see me in Brussels. I don't know if you remember Tom. You came from Grenoble, and you wanted to do something in the field of culture, and I said, why don't you create a MUS association in Belgium? And MUS association in Belgium is fantastically managed by Tom so far, and it has been some fantastic years for MUS in Belgium as well, in all regions, not on Flemish, French, and Brussels speaking. So for each association, there is a specific development, and I want to thank you all for this involvement, for these competencies that you have brought to the development of MUS in each country, because it's a fantastic strength to be able to develop out of nothing, as Andor also expressed this morning. No, we had no experience of anything, but we launched each other in this project, and now 30 years later we are still there. We touch mainly 50,000 children per year with all our structures, and we involved more than 400 more than 400, let's say 600 artists working each week in our primary schools, and with the involvement of more or less 4,000 teachers from the primary school as well. So primary schools are more or less like 700, I think, per year since 30 years. And of course, we had also some failures. I have to speak also about the failures, because this is a fantastic development, but on the way we lost some countries, because it's not easy to be financially independent and involving and growing during all these years. So we started in France, and for at least 10 years we had a good development in France, but then because of a lack of funding we had to stop this activity. The same, for example, in Finland or also in Sweden. So for some years we did the project, but we could not last for 30 years. Well, but the one who are here, congratulations, because it's worthy a medal. And well, that's all what I wanted to say. I want to say also that at that time we had not a lot of concurrence, because we were rather new with our approach to bring the artists at schools. But now we have a lot of people are bringing the arts at school, so we have also to adapt to the current situation. And the world that we know now is not the same world as we knew before. At that time, maybe 30 years before, the world was more static. Now it's really dynamic, involving in perpetual change. We have a lot of conflicts everywhere. We have some problem of climate change. We will have refugees coming from this situation as well. And at the same time, technically, we are also using new technologies. The digital shift is one of the main priority of the Commission of Mrs. van der Leyen, together with the green awareness. So we have to stick to all these priority at the same time if we want to be in the same direction that the current world. So these are these challenges, and I'm convinced that MUS, with all the wealth of experience that we have gathered since 30 years, we have the answer to these specific challenges. I am sure, and I'm sure you are all convinced about that. So we need to stick to that, we need to continue, and I'm sure we will progress on the way. And to finish, I would like to say that in the cave of Neanderthal, there are some rest of artistic painting, and I doubt there will be a tablet or a Wi-Fi for so long. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marianne, for these really very interesting insights about the history of MUS-E and your powerful words. We hear it all, and I think you're right. We have to go forward and stick together, and then we can reach a lot of things. And now I would like to please Gilles Apap on stage. You can do now 2 pieces, because I forgot before.
I owe them one.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I did. No, it's okay.
Yes, okay.
Oh my God,
we hear now one piece from Bach.
Sure.
And the next one is without title. It's from you?
No. Yes.
A little bit? Improvisation?
Well, yeah.
Tell us about a little bit.
Yeah, I will tell you a little bit. Not too much. But first I'd like to thank you all to support this beautiful organization. Mr. Menuhin was so close to me. He was somebody that inspired me to play the violin when I was 9 years old, because my mother had the good idea to put an LP on, and that was the Beethoven violin concerto by this gentleman. And so that's what decided me to play the violin. And the beautiful thing is, one day he called me up So it's really rather funny to have somebody like Mr. Menuhin calling you up at 6 o'clock in the morning in California. Wow. That was beautiful. Wow. So what I'll do, I'll pay tribute to my dear Mr. Menuhin, and I will play something by a piece by Django Reinhardt. And after that, I'll pay tribute to his teacher, Georges Enescu, and I'll play for you just a slow movement from a beautiful piece for violin and piano called Impression d'enfance, and it's called Le Ménétrier, so that's what I'll play. I'll play something by Django Reinhardt, and then I'll play something by Le Ménétrier by Georges Enescu, and then I'll decide what I'm going to do. If you give me like 5 minutes. Do you have 5 minutes of your precious time?
Of course.
Good. Okay, great. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to need you. Do you have good rhythm? You do? Yeah. Who said yes? Yes. Well, people who don't have good rhythm, they can do it too. All right? You just have to keep the rhythm and go like this. So far, so good. And I'll play a little beautiful piece called Tears.
That's it.
All right. Impression d'enfance. Watch out. something completely different. It's called All Time. That's the bass. Contretemps. Nice.
Thank you, Ina, for the representation. And yeah, Mr. Oelker is not here today, so we continue now with the music. And I would like now Yehudi Menuhin to come to the stage together with his partner Yehudi Menuhin, and they play Four Hands Piece. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for coming. And very pleased to welcome now Yehudi Menuhin. It's a very special moment, I can imagine, also for you today. Yes. Would you please be so kind and share some stories, memories which you have to your father?
I will, and I'll make it as short as possible. So, hello everyone. Hello Werner, wherever you are. Where's Werner? Hello Werner. And hello Marianne. Marianne, hello Marianne. And the founders, the co-founders of this wonderful organization. So just a few words about Yehudi. Yehudi Menuhin was a citizen of the world, for which there is of course no passport. A public figure who felt as much at home in his birthplace, the United States, and specifically San Francisco, as in most European countries, many of whose languages he spoke. It seems nevertheless important to remind ourselves that he was first and foremost a great musician. He brought a sense of transcendence, of something beyond the instrument, possibly universal, to the works that represent our inherited canon. Only a very few musicians can convey this. He regarded the music he was entrusted to interpret as a code to a more profound reality, whether Bach, Mozart, Beethoven, Brahms or Bartók. He was the servant of the music and not the other way around. When he played the first notes of the 10th Sonata of Beethoven, a work I had the privilege of playing with him on many occasions, his rendering of the solo leitmotif held significance far beyond those notes. How does the interval of the fourth, followed by a major second and a minor third, come to mean so much? I venture to suggest that Yehudi not only understood the great tradition, but that he also had insight into Beethoven's mind. As a composer too was educated and steeped in the same language, although born almost 150 years earlier. If this deeper meaning is not unearthed by the interpreter, the music remains mere notes conceived by the composer, however extraordinary he was. Yehudi's intense preoccupation with the score may have its similarities in the approach of a Talmudic scholar. I suggest that this is an example of epigenetics in action. He had not been brought up in the Judaic tradition. His parents were too keen to assimilate, yet looking at his copy of the Bach partitas or the Bartók solo sonata, a kaleidoscope of colors and seemingly contradictory pencil marks, one wonders where this obsession with analysis originated. This is how I would like to remember Yehudi Menuhin, not a miracle from outer space, but a person anchored in the great cultures of Western European music and the diaspora. He passionately believed in great music reaching young people, as you have been discussing today. The same profound music that he interpreted his whole life. He found the piped rubbish to which we are daily subjected, the commercial sentimental songs, the deadbeat, unbearable, and would ask whenever possible for it to be turned off. MUS-E, with its emphasis on music, drama, and dance, represents the courageous and determined move against all of that. It is also from this perspective that I would like to recall Yehudi, its founder. It has been my pleasure, and that of Muki, my wife, to show our support with this invaluable organization. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And to conclude this wonderful hour, I may now, and I think it's really not too much to say, I ask the heartbeat of MUS-E to come to me, to the stage. Werner, nice that you're here, and thank you so much for everything you did for MUS-E and for all of us. How do you feel today? What does it mean to you that we are all here now?
Yeah, I'm really touched. And I'm so glad that so many people from mostly all over the MUS-E countries are present here. And those who could not come, that Israel and Cyprus, for them we stream this event. So We are all together. And that is also the motive. Because of the time, which is now very much over planned, I don't give my speech, I give only a wish. We spoke a lot about the past. Marianne spoke about the founding, and what I want to give us all, and you especially in all your countries, be open for improvising. Do not fix too much, because that was a really element of what Yehudi wanted always. A small remark to this program, there was a mistake. The author of the wonderful report from Portugal, it's Cristina Brito da Cruz. So, and because of the illness of Professor Oelkers, I decided we will print a summary of articles and also this article and will distribute it. That comes later, I cannot promise now. But what I can promise is that we meet now at the Landhaus for an apéro riche and can refresh from this event here in the church, and those who come to the concert in the evening, we will even see each other. Thank you very much for coming, and thank you for all your support, and let's continue like that.